Welcome everybody back to the Casual Football Friends show with me, Zane.
And me, Tharun.
You said that very professionally today. Well done.
I'm trying my best now.
You're in a different room. You're like, I'm taking this podcasting a lot more seriously than I used to.
Yes, because we were criticised for lighting, and I thought the best lighting in my house is in my kitchen. So I don't know how it's going to sound, but it probably looks fantastic. That's what I'm going to say. But I need a new webcam, to be fair.
I was going to say, I think your audio is fine, but then whenever I listen back to like the podcast versions of our show, I'm always like, God, Tharun doesn't sound very good. Like it's actually kind of muffled, and I don't know. We'll work around it at some point. And just like, Tharun, you okay there, buddy? He's like, no, I'm drowning. Like it's actually. But yeah, no. How's things after a 2-0 lead slipping to a 2-2 draw?
Well, it gave us hope at first. Let's be honest. At the start, it was like, you know what? When Vardy scored, I was like, you know what? Okay, fair dues. We're 1-0 up at Selhurst Park. We weren't having the most possession or anything, but you know, it looks like we were capitalising on whatever attacks we had. And then when Steffi scored, we're like, okay, now we're off. It's 2-0. Okay, we can see out the game. Let's just not drop too deep or anything like that. Let's not do anything silly like take off some attackers and bring on defenders. Let's not do anything ridiculous. Let's just play it right, do the right tactics, and we can win this. And then but the problem was Palace scored so quickly after we went 2-0 up.
Yeah,
I think that took a bit of the steam out of us. If Palace scored like maybe 10, 15 minutes later, we might have been okay.
Yeah. But
because it was like right after we scored, that's where it became a little bit like, and then they've done us in like with a penalty at the end.
It's your typical football result, I feel, where you're 2-0 up. As soon as you concede the one, the match is very fragile. Your lead is so fragile at 2-1, I feel, because as soon as they get momentum, it's like you really do have to be up against it, and it's fair play to them, right? So to Leicester, I think defensively they were actually quite good. Like they were being overrun, but I didn't think Palace looked like they had any clear-cut chances until a mistake. And I think that says a lot about the performance. And like I think it was overall a very good performance. It's just that one, you're away at Crystal Palace, who are an established Premier League team. They know they've been in really good form last season. They have very good players. They have fantastic players who were in the England squad who got to the Euro final, like Eze and Wharton. They have very decent styles of play. So I think it's a good result. It's just disappointing, obviously, because it could have been our first win of the season. But if you told me at the beginning of the day the match would finish 2-2, I would have snapped your hand off. So I'm pretty happy with the point, yeah.
As a result, it is good. And Palace are a quality side. There's no two ways about it. But the thing is, we were messaging each other about it, is expectations change during a game. And it's, before the game, I was the same as you. If someone said it's going to end, if it ended as a draw, I'm like, I'll take that all day. But then when you're 2-0 up, you have to be able to see a game out.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to be defensively minded. You have to be able to... And as a manager, you have to be tactically sound to be able to see a game out when you're 2-0 up, regardless who you're up against. You have to be able to see that. Okay, look, Palace are a quality team, but they're not Man City. They're not Liverpool. They're not Arsenal. If we're 2-0 up against them, we should be able to hold on to that lead. If we were 1-0 up, okay, that happens. But then to go 2-0 up and then draw 2-2, it just kind of... It's frustrating, and it once again it's that thing where it's a silly little mistake, and it seems to be happening week after week. It's a silly mistake that happens that just works against us. It's just falling asleep every now and then. Lack of concentration, and then that's it. We're done.
I wonder if it's like lack of playtime as well affects people like Cody. You're bringing in somebody who's not really been playing to come in solidify the lead. And obviously, match fitness is a really important factor in playing for. Because ultimately, Conor Cody is a very good player. He's a very solid and dependable defender. But anybody going in with 10 minutes to go and it's a high pressure environment. Yeah, he's a very experienced player, but he's also probably not the most match fit.
No.
So yeah, at that point, it's funny because I know you were saying about expectations in the match. I personally, as soon as I saw it went 2-1, I was like, this is probably going to finish 2-2. And I was just thinking basically don't finish 3-2. So I guess I went in with kind of low expectations to begin with, but it's also watching Everton do a 2-0 lead to a 3-2 loss 2 weeks in a row. There is a part of me which is like, oh, this is a very distinct possibility.
It can happen. The thing is, I think the Everton Villa game was probably the match of the weekend. I thought that game was fantastic. Watching it, I thought that was a brilliant game. I watched the highlights of it and watched as much as I could.
Yeah.
That was a great game.
Oh, sorry, it's Aston Villa. Remember, Aston Villa.
Oh, so Aston Villa.
Yes,
Aston
that's
Villa.
What I'm going to say. I'm going to correct you.
Just making that clear.
Yes.
Aston Villa versus Everton. I thought that was the great game. Obviously Everton went 2-0 up, then Aston Villa. Finally, Watkins scored and got me something in my fantasy league. Bloody hell, waited long enough, didn't you? But yeah,
it really was sorry.
So I was just about that Everton could have pulled it level at the end.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It really was a tale of two strikers, that game. You had Watkins obviously being decisive and scoring, and Calvert-Lewin fluffing it and basically not losing his team the game, but his misses were ultimately quite decisive in that game.
Yeah, because it's because of the position that Everton are in right now.
Yeah.
With them, it's if they were mid-table and they had that game on the weekend, they could have been like, oh, but we played great. It was a it was a great performance. But now it's like they played good, but they didn't get the result.
No, and that's 2 weeks in a row. That's 2 weeks in a row now. That I think the idea, the thing is, we saw it a lot when Leicester went down. There does become this fragile mindset within the team that sort of permeates throughout the season. If that kind of thing happens repeatedly, where you are 2-0 up and you lose 3-2, the fans, they'll always be nervous when you're winning. Because if you can't hold on to a 2-0 lead, if you keep losing, then they're just gonna have no faith in you being able to hold out to get a result. And two, teams will know that they can exploit that. So I'm sure Aston Villa were, when they went 2-0 down on the weekend, they were probably thinking, well, I mean, look, if Bournemouth can come back against these guys and win 3-2, we probably can. And they did. So I imagine any other team in the league, maybe not us, maybe not Southampton or, one of the newer promoted teams, but most teams will be looking at that and going, okay, Everton are quite fragile, we can exploit it. And the problem is, again, for them, it was mistakes like that.
Mistakes.
The Everton winger Jack Harrison accidentally crosses it in for Watkins, and it's silly things basically. That game was amazing though. That was a very good game, and it was
a great game. But the thing is, I think we have to start considering Aston Villa as a top team now. We have to start considering them as that. So when if you do go ahead, you need to be defensively minded, and mistakes need to be minimal, because Aston Villa, they will punish you for it.
Yeah.
Even though Ollie Watkins has only now started to start scoring. He's always been a threat up front, and Aston Villa are always a threat up front. You can't deny that. So they finished fourth last season. They were champions. They're a Champions League team now.
Yeah.
So you can't they're one of those teams now where we have to, when Leicester come up against them, if we go 2-0 up, we need to start. Even then, we can't relax against them.
You can't relax against any team in this league, to be honest with you. I mean, Bournemouth showed it last week Bournemouth aren't exactly a top 4 team, but they showed it last week that, not even 10 minutes, 5 minutes of not having full concentration and you can flip the game completely on its head.
That's it. Yeah, that's what's been happening.
What else happened? So did you watch the North London derby?
I did, and it made me chuckle because my manager is a Tottenham supporter.
Oh yeah.
So it was. So that made me chuckle a little bit. And my mum's an Arsenal supporter, so I wasn't too happy about that.
Yeah,
but
we talked about this before, didn't we? Yeah, with your mum being from Careful. So, I mean, good for her. At least, like, I'm sure she was happy.
Well, it's like, when Leicester won the league, Mum always had to remind me, goes, well, look at the one team that beat them twice.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, be like, well, you still didn't win the league. Like,
yeah, that's like their victory there. Like, yeah, Leicester won the league, but we managed to beat them twice. Okay.
Okay, fair play. Well, we will get the trophy, I guess.
Yeah. And Arsenal finished second that season, I guess. But it's but it was a classic North London derby. It was a classic one, and I think the safe bet was Arsenal were going to win.
It's interesting though, because you'd think at Spurs there'd be a bit more fight to Spurs, and it's just interesting. Like, it's funny because like a couple of seasons ago, Arsenal going away to Spurs, you'd be like, it's quite an even game. You'd assume that Spurs would have the advantage, but I think even going into this, I was like, Arsenal are probably favourites, which I think just kind of shows how much improvement they've made over the last few years. Is that they are, like, to me, head and shoulders the favourites in that match.
Oh yeah, Arsenal. There was a reason why they challenged for the title last season, and they'll probably challenge again this season.
Yeah,
but I think a lot of the problems that Spurs had, actually Leicester kind of exploited it in the first game. Obviously the first half was all Spurs, but then in the second half, Leicester was able to actually show a lot of the weaknesses that Spurs has. They can't hold it at the back. Their defense is very easy to just cut through, and Leicester showed that. Yeah. And now other teams have been able to exploit that as well. I'm not saying that Leicester are the trendsetters here; they've done all that, but we were able to see it in the first game of the season, and that's what. And Arsenal, I'm surprised that Arsenal. I thought Arsenal would win about 2-0. I thought it'd be like that. I was surprised that they finished just 1-0, but with Arsenal winning, it was no surprise in that one.
It's not surprised at all. I mean, we're just looking at the stats right now. So Spurs ended up with 63% possession throughout the game. Like, and then 5 shots to 4 on target, 15 shots to 7 altogether. Spurs, it's just they're not clinical enough, and it's exactly the issue that they had against us as well. They're just not clinical enough, and considering who they bought, Solanke. I don't think Solanke played. He's still injured, isn't he?
I don't think he played.
So, he did. Solanke, he did play.
There's a lot of hype over Solanke coming in.
Yeah,
but he hasn't done it yet for them.
He's been injured. He's
been injured. But it's like we always have these, like, when you bring a new big star in, you think you want them to make an instant impact, and Solanke needed to make an instant impact at Spurs, and he hasn't done it yet. He's been injured now, but when he comes back, he
has to hit the ground running. Yeah.
He has to. He has no choice. He has to do it because for the sake of Spurs, really, he has to do it because Spurs are playing really in bottom half form. They're not playing in top form at all. They're not. I think they're only one place above us at the moment. I mean, I know it's still early days.
They
in the season.
13th. They have 4 points. They have 4 points from 4 games. We have we're 15th, so we have 2 from 4. So they're not having the best. I think I was reading the other day that this is their worst start to the season in like 9 years. So
it's not been great.
Not been great. I mean, I feel like they'll stick it out with Ange. I think Ange is that kind of manager like you'd want to rally behind. But I do wonder if there is like a hangover from the end of last season for Spurs, where that game against Man City where Ange came out at the end of the game and he was talking about like we're going to have to do some reevaluating because the Spurs fans were supporting Man City. It's
never a good sign, is it?
No, so I think I wonder if there is a little bit of hangover from that in that scenario where there's maybe just a little bit of negativity still around the team. I mean, it's an interesting one. It'll be early days.
I mean, he did say that he always wins something in his second season. So,
where was that? Where's that been tested? Like, obviously Scotland, but where else has that been tested?
Well, there you go. There you go. He's done it there.
Yeah.
But, because the Premier League is so much the same, especially with Spurs.
I think he was Australia. Was he Australia manager at one point? And
I don't know. I think he was.
Yeah,
But,
I'm just
but
sure-
international is very different to club football.
no, but obviously, like when they won something, did they win like the Oceania Cup or something?
Yeah, well, something like that. It's not going to be like they didn't win the World Cup or nothing. But
I'm just looking at Ange's managerial record, teams. He managed South Melbourne from 96 to 2000.
Nice.
Some Australian youth teams, as in like the Australia under-17s and under-20s. Then he went to Panachaiki,
Where's that?
which is in Greece.
Okay.
And then the Whittlesea Zebras, Brisbane Roar, Melbourne Victory. Then he managed Australia from 2013 to 2017. So yeah, that must be it. And he won the Asian Cup, which is
Nice.
I said Oceania.
Nice.
I forgot that Australia play in the Asian Cup.
I mean, how they've managed that, I don't know. But it's fair enough. He won the Asian Cup.
And then he was managing in Japan and then Celtic. So I'm assuming he has won something in every one of his second seasons. But
Yeah, he's won something. But it's like this is
the Premier League.
no disrespect to those other leagues.
Yeah.
This is the Premier League.
This is
This
the
is a completely different kettle of fish.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, if Spurs, I think Spurs just need to aim to win a trophy. They need to aim to win like a League Cup. And
It'd be good for club confidence.
yeah, exactly.
Just to get some silverware.
Just to get some silverware, because it's like the last time they won anything was 2008. So
I know. I was still at school then.
yeah, me too. Obviously, if you were, then I definitely. It's like I wasn't even born.
But yeah. 2008. I remember when this was all fields.
Let's talk about, I'd say, the big shock of the weekend. Forest winning away at Liverpool.
You know what?
Weirder
things have happened. There was something of the nostalgia about it in many ways. Like, again, my dad is a Forest fan.
Yeah.
So this was like him harping back to the 70s for this one. Like, oh yeah, we always used to play Liverpool. I'm like, yeah, back then, well done. But yeah, fair play. Forest, they got the job done.
They got the job done. Yeah, it kind of made me ashamed that we didn't hold out against Palace because they held out against Liverpool.
I know, it kind of like puts it in perspective. At Anfield as well. Hudson-Odoi scored, and it's just...
What a goal as well.
It was a good goal.
It was a great goal. It was a great goal. Right into the corner. And I don't know, man. Like Liverpool, it's such an interesting kind of result because they're coming off the high of winning 3-0 against United at Old Trafford.
I know. And you think against Forest, this should just be a little nice little game
by the
for
numbers,
them to just little celebrating game basically. And then they lost at home. So that was it was a strange, very unusual result. But you know what? Hats off to Forest. As much as I hate to say it, well done them. They got the win. They got the win.
I feel like it perfectly encapsulates the Premier League, that game, because it really does show that anything can happen, and that's what the beauty of the Premier League is. Unless you're playing Man City, in which case, no, they're going to win. Like there's no, there's no point in showing up.
I get the feeling. You know when we spoke a couple podcasts ago about when Leicester beat Man United 5-3.
Yeah.
And that established Leicester as a Premier League team that we have now announced ourselves and arrived. I kind of feel that's the situation with this game for Forest.
Okay.
That now they've beaten Liverpool at Anfield. They've now established we're in the Premier League. We're here to stay.
This is like the third season, though. They've been in the Premier League for 2 seasons already, so...
Yeah, but it's been kind of like
shaky.
shit.
Yeah, it's been very shaky.
But now they've kind of like... since they got rid of Steve Cooper. But now they've kind of just established, like, no, we're in the Premier League now. This is us.
Yeah.
And so I think this is... That was Forest's game to do that. And they've done it. So I think every team, when they've come up... In a few seasons, they need to have that one game where they stamp their flag and say, no, this is us. And Leicester, like we say, Leicester did that with the game against Man United when Vardy scored that hat-trick.
He scored 2, I think.
Oh, 2 goals. Oh, sorry. Well, Leicester came back from 3-1 down and won 5-3.
Yeah.
But I kind of get a feeling that this was Forest's one.
Okay.
Again, against Liverpool.
Time can only tell with that because, it's such
Well,
a
we'll see how it
chaotic
goes.
season. Yeah.
I mean, no, end of the season they get relegated, and I look like a complete knob for saying all
I'm
this.
100%.
Yeah.
If they get relegated, I'm clipping this and I'm putting it everywhere. I'm gonna go.
But if they finish mid-table, then I'm justified.
I'm gonna if they get relegated, I'm gonna clip this and I'm gonna go post it on the Nottingham Forest fan boards, fan pages on Reddit, and just go have fun with it.
I mean, you can tell I'm a Leicester City fan. I've got blue cabinets behind me. I mean, look, I've even got a fridge magnet here. Look, Leicester City fridge magnet right there.
Nice. What does it hold on your fridge? I'm assuming not great.
Holds nothing. Holds itself. It used to hold a shopping list.
Oh, but now you don't go shopping, so
no, I didn't do any of that.
No, let's. I guess we could talk about Man City. I was going to say, even when I was watching the highlights, I was like, this is not even interesting. Like, it's Man City.
You know what, Man
City,
again. They played great football, but it is a bit boring now.
Yeah, so boring.
Does that sound right?
No. I think you're right, because even like match of the day, I was watching it just going like, there's just nothing here for me anymore when it comes to City, and the way not just the way they play, but also just the inevitability of it all. I feel like it's not interesting anymore.
There's no jeopardy with them.
There's no jeopardy whatsoever. And I mean, granted, they went 1-0 down, but it's like, okay, they went 1-0 down after 20 seconds. Like, they're going to come back and win. They've got Haaland, who scored 2.
Exactly. Which makes me more annoyed that I didn't have him in my fantasy team.
Yeah, I knew last week I made a mistake when I took him. I took him off captain. I gave it to Cole Palmer, and he scored a hat-trick. So I was like, I'm not making that mistake again. And I put him as captain, and he basically got me all my points. So I need to
do a wild card and get Haaland in the team now. It's just I can't continue this way.
It's game week 5, and you're already playing a wild card. So that's not good.
I need to do something.
I'm looking at the results from Saturday. United against Southampton. Did you watch that game? 3-0 to United.
Saw the highlights of it. Good for United.
Good for United.
Especially coming off their loss against Liverpool, they needed a win, and luckily they had Southampton to play against.
You say that, but like Southampton, up until they had the penalty, were the better team, and then they missed the penalty, and it just capitulated. The entire team just did not recover from that. And United scored quite soon after that, and Southampton just never looked like they were going to come back into it.
No.
So yeah, fair play to Southampton. They're staying with their style of football. They're sticking to their principles.
Fair play.
It's what we were saying a couple of weeks ago. Like, I just don't know if this is how you stay up.
Yeah, they got a very championship style still.
It's too ambitious, I think.
It worked in the championship.
Yeah, but half the teams are not that
good. You have to adapt when you're in the Premier League. It's like a different sport in many ways. It's a completely different style of game. It's the quality. You see the levels when you get to the Premier League, and that's why Southampton are favourites to go down. They're just. I don't see anything from them.
Yeah,
at the moment,
and Russell Martin's determination to stick to his style of play is admirable, but it's not the most pragmatic with the defenders playing out from the back no matter what. Yeah. It's like, teams pressing in the Premier League is a very different sport to teams pressing in the Championship. It's nowhere near as intense in the Championship. I mean, good luck. I mean, you know what I was reminded of when Southampton were playing United the other day, and I was reminded of when we beat them 6-0, and I was like, this is the team that we beat 6-0. Like, this is the team that's.
I remember we beat them 9-0.
Yeah, well, when we beat them in the Championship last season and we got promoted. Yeah,
we battered them. Yeah,
it's the same team. Like, it's basically
it's not changed.
Yeah, it's not changed. And I was watching that going, this is exactly the same kind of performance. If United were like a little bit more clinical, it could have been 5, and I wouldn't have been surprised.
And then Southampton went a man down, and that just there was no hope after that. They were 2-0 down, went a man down, and then United were looking to get another goal. There was no hope after that.
But even then, I think even with like 11 versus 11, there wasn't really any hope. It's not like the Leicester.
Wasn't anything.
Yeah, it just wasn't their day, and that missed penalty seemed to just take out all kind of belief in them, which is it's sad to see, but it's football. It's life.
I mean, you know what? You miss penalties, but then you have to bounce back.
You have to bounce back.
You can't just miss a penalty and go, okay, sorry, we're done. I guess we lost this one, guys. We still got a whole half to get through, but we missed a penalty. Go on,
not fair.
Let's pack up now.
It's not fair. I missed the penalty. I'm gonna go take the ball and go home. Like that's basically.
There was a kid at school, and we were playing penalties. We were playing football in the park once, and he literally had a penalty. He missed it, and it was his ball, so he took the ball and went home. He literally did that. What are you doing?
How soon into the game was it?
We were like 10 minutes in. I don't know. He got a penalty. It was never a penalty. I just got to say that.
Right.
But we gave it to him. As you can tell, I was involved. And then he missed the penalty, and then he got really angry. Went up to the ball, picked it up, and just walked home in a sulk. And so, because he was the guy with the ball, we all had to go home.
Yeah, like I guess. Do you guys want to get some burgers? Maybe I don't know. Like, what else can we do?
Yeah, that's it. So we just went home after that.
Should we just go running around the track at this point? Yeah, that's a real. I'm sure that guy grew up to be a real winner.
Oh yeah, he certainly did.
It was you, wasn't it?
It was me.
That's the twist of this whole thing, is that it was actually you.
Yeah, my friend.
Yeah, you're like I was. You could tell I was involved because it was me.
Oh yeah.
Just looking at the rest of the results. I guess the only other kind of notable one for me was, did you watch the Newcastle Wolves game, the final game of the game week?
Final game of the game week.
That's what it was. It was the final game of the game week.
I saw the highlights.
Some screamers.
Wolves aren't looking good. Yeah, some screamers, but Wolves aren't looking good at the moment. No. Which surprises me, because they're not a bad team.
Well, the problem, and people have been saying this a lot, like the commentators, is that they sold two of their best players, so Neto and Kilman, and they didn't replace them. They didn't buy anyone. So that basically it's last year's squad minus two. Yeah. Which, as we know, two key players, and as we know, in order to to keep progressing, and not just keep progressing, but like to stay afloat, you can't be stagnant in your recruitment. No. In your playing squad, you have to switch it up every year. I don't know, man. I feel for Gary O'Neill because I think he's a really good manager, but it's not looking great.
It's easier said than done, though. It's like, if you sell a quality player, you have to get a player in who's twice as good as that player.
Potentially,
but that's easier said than done.
But Wolves have been very good at doing that over the years because they use their dubious connections to get other players in who tend to be quite good. So, for example,
as Leicester fans, we can't throw stones.
I don't know, man. The Wolves one is a little bit more dodgy than that, I'd say. But basically, they sold Jota a few years ago to Liverpool. They had Neto. They sold Neto now, and it's like, okay, who's next? But the problem is, as we know, the production line will end at some point if you keep selling your best players. And I don't know if it's going to end for Wolves. We'll see what happens. But
they've had a good run at the Premier League. And Wolves, I see them as the type of team, if they went down, I think they'll just bounce right back up. I think they would do.
They've been in the Premier League.
A bit like how Leicester have. Yeah, a bit like how Leicester have. They go down, they come back up. I think Wolves will do the same.
Yeah, they've been in the Premier League for so long that they'll have the resources to easily. Yeah.
Whereas if it's like now that Luton have gone down, I don't see him coming back anytime soon.
No.
So I think whereas Wolves are pretty much established, I could even see it with Everton actually. If Everton go down, I could see them coming right back up.
Yeah, they would. I think they would. They're too big. Yeah. They're such a big club.
Yeah, too big of a club. They're a huge club. They're going to have a brand new stadium.
Yeah.
They're a huge club, Everton. So if they go down, they're going to come right back up.
Yeah.
And they're just been walking a tightrope for the whole season. But with Wolves, it's still early days in the season. It's still early days. I mean, they've had their worst defeat so far, against Chelsea. But it's still early days.
I just hope that they don't blame Gary O'Neill for this, because I feel like he hasn't been given the resources to do a proper job.
That's what happens, though, isn't it? The manager always gets the flack.
Yeah, surely the fans will be like, no, you've kind of stitched him up here by not backing him properly and by selling players and not replacing them. I'd say at that point, that's a board problem and a director of football problem, right?
I mean, let's put it in Leicester's perspective. Like, if by, let's say, January, we're fighting relegation, like we're literally 1 or 2 points above the relegation zone or in the relegation zone, are we going to start putting the fingers at Kuntop, or are we going to start pointing it at Steve Cooper?
It depends, because I wouldn't say Cooper's not been backed. I feel like he's been backed fully. He's been backed. He's been backed to the extent he's been allowed to spend, if that makes sense. So, like,
he's been allowed to spend, and he's brought in some players, and so I think maybe we could, from a Leicester perspective, we would have to look at Cooper on that one, but time will tell.
Time will tell. Well, early days still with the season.
We forget we're so early in the season.
Yeah, anything can happen. Look at Palace last season. Halfway through, they changed, and all of a sudden, they're like one of the best teams in the league with the style of play, which is amazing to watch. And obviously,
I love watching Palace play.
Yeah, they just look so good. Shall we do our famous segment?
Go on.
Clickmates.
Is it clickmates?
It's clickmates.
Clickmates. Yes.
We need a theme for clickmates, don't we?
I know. We need some noise to make us know. It's clickmates, everyone.
No.
Clickmates.
No? I thought you were gonna play a song.
It's clickmates! Hey, clickmates! The best segment of the show.
Oh, God, that was.
I
thought you were going to do the air horn one. Why would you do that?
Air horn. This one again. Wait. Clickmates!
What the hell? What was any of that? Why did you play the drums one when you had the air horn right there?
I know, but it was just I just thought we'd do that one.
We're gonna build hype by playing that, like, that was a good joke, boom boom sound effect. Yeah, no, that's definitely a great way to build hype to our world famous segment of the show, Clickmates.
Yep.
Well, we do have some interesting Clickmates this week, which I sent to you.
You did, and shall we go through them?
Yeah, let's go through them. So we have.
To be fair, we talk so much shit.
I know. I'm also scrolling for a while here, hoping to see.
I've even sent you my Instagram algorithm. Okay, let's just.
Oh my God.
Okay, let's we go. Clickmate, found one.
Yep, you found a clickmate?
Yep. Aniola Aluko?
Eniola
Eniola, tomato. Accounts using fake quotes with my name and image will be contacted and subject to legal action.
Okay. And what were the accounts that she was referring to saying?
She was talking about at Football Funnies, at FSM Official TW, and at B Warmers.
And so, to people who don't know, right? So, Eni Luco has been subjected to a lot of fake quotes being spread about her, where she's been saying that female footballers now are at a point where they should be playing in the men's team and should be paid the exact same amount. And obviously, these pages, and this is why Clickmates is so important, because these pages have manufactured this story purely because they know people will rage bait and comment going, "This is bullshit. Women shouldn't be paid." The typical dickhead who lurks in the comments, right? And they did this purely to, because they know she's an easy target. And I feel like this is a really decent Clickmates because, you know what? Fuck those guys.
Yeah, because we see in so many of these articles that pop up with these types of things, and they say that she said a lot of these bizarre comments, but it's just to get under the skin of your typical bloke.
Yeah.
Who'd just be like, what's this woman doing talking about football? She should be in the kitchen. Making me a sandwich. That's what these clickbaits always do.
Yes. It's what they always do, and you'll get the same quotes, the same commenters under each and every one of them, and I feel like them weaponizing her is fucking insidious. Like, I genuinely hate that kind of shit so much. The fact that they've literally made up quotes and attributed it to her because they know she's an easy target. That's kind of all I have to say on that one, to be honest with you. I just, I looked at it and went, man, fuck these guys. But I have a good one. Okay, so former Leicester City defender Daniel Amati accused of escaping to avoid transfer away. So, let me go over this. Former Leicester City defender and Premier League winner Daniel Amati has been accused of escaping to avoid being sold by Besiktas. Daniel Amati has been involved in a transfer nightmare after failing to secure a move away from the Turkish side Besiktas. The window doesn't close until the 13th of September, blah, 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 blah. Deals to be completed. They look to offload the man. But 1 year on, it seems that Besiktas want to get rid of Amati. However, it's proving to be more difficult than they imagined. Besiktas believe that they had secured a deal to sell Amati, with the club secretary revealing that they received up to 7 offers for the 29-year-old, only for Amati to reject all the approaches in him. The guy was saying Amati insisted on making either a return to England or Germany, and even escaped to avoid moving to a fellow Turkish side. So he literally fled, like he did a runner because he didn't want to get sold. So it's like, you can't sell me if you can't catch me. And I think there's a bit of genius to that, right? Like,
so is Amati on the run now? I mean, is he hiding out in some little cabin somewhere? With nothing but a fishing rod.
I was going to say, he's got a big beard now. He's got a giant fake beard and glasses on. He's
just become some nomad. Just like, they'll never sell me.
In a damning statement, club spokesman Hussein Yushel said, Amati is a strange person. We made an agreement with a team from Saudi Arabia, but he did not get on the plane. We agreed a deal with Ayubspor, but he escaped through the back door of our facilities. He said, I will only go to Germany or England. When he was told the transfer window is closed, he said, how will it close? Daniel responds to escape claims. Any move away for Amati is unlikely to happen now until January. The centre-back said, those are completely untrue. Nothing like that happened. Those allegations should be disregarded. So, it could be bullshit. It could be... I mean, the fact that
it could be complete bullshit, but
it could be bullshit. I mean, that's the beauty of clickmates, is that it could be bullshit is like the perfect way to attribute the description to all of these.
If it's true, then... Fucking hell, what a story.
What a story.
He slipped out through the back door. I mean, what's going on with the security at Besiktas? He just slipped out.
It's just so funny. Like, the reporting on it it's like as if he's a missing person. And then it's like, but also here's a quote from Amati that we spoke to. So clearly he's not missing. Like, clearly if they can get a comment from him.
You definitely found him.
You found him.
You found him. How can you get a quote from the guy if he's missing?
I just looking at what the other one was. Trent. Yeah, so there's more clickmates on like why Trent should be in the England squad. I thought, who cares really? To be honest, it's just a very basic thing. Here's a good one. So you know how Matthijs de Ligt, he made a error for Holland in their game, the Netherlands.
Yeah.
And there was this like big media debacle by Sports Bible. The headline, the clickmates headline was, Matthijs de Ligt ends his Netherlands career with horrendous error. Virgil van Dijk's reaction and what happens next sums it up. And I looked at the clip, and literally, like, he makes a mistake. He just passes it to the... Like, It's an error that you would see a Southampton defender make on an average Premier League game, and it's really not that big a deal. It's just one mistake, and the fucking phrasing of it. It's like they even put in big caps, ends his Netherlands career.
Ends his Netherlands career. I think you sent me that one.
I did. I sent you all of these. All of these I'm getting from your chat with me. Oh, here's a fun one. Solcam. I guess it. This is from sportsjoe.co.uk.
I know exactly the one you're going to say.
Sol Campbell declares he deserves a knighthood. He says he should be considered one of the sporting greats of our country. Again, we don't know if he actually said it, but I wouldn't put it past him.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Sol Campbell was good.
Sol Campbell was incredible. Sol Campbell was an amazing defender. He's just... Yeah.
I mean, a lot of Spurs fans hate him.
Yeah,
obviously. But he was very good at Arsenal. Part of the Arsenal Invincibles team.
He was amazing. But he's a bit of a dog of a guy. Like, that's the problem, is that...
It's a big insult. A lot of players back then were like that.
No, but he ran as a fucking Tory MP. And he's not a very likable human being by all accounts, and but obviously this is all from stories you get told.
Sol Campbell left his club for a rival club. Of course, he ends up being a Tory. It makes perfect sense. There's no denying that.
Just because, I want to sell out the people in poverty in Tottenham even more. Bye.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know, it just fits kind of perfectly. But yeah, he's another one. I think it's because of the person he is. It attracts more dickheads to the conversation to then have their go at him for being who he is. Look, man, think of what you will of him as a person, but as a player, he was amazing. It's just...
Oh, yeah. I think sometimes you've got to separate the player from the person. And I always have to do that with Luis Suarez. Separate the player from the person. As a player, phenomenal. Yeah. As a person, bit of a dick.
Yeah.
Sol Campbell... Actually, I never would say Sol Campbell's a bit of a dick, but it's... he's a... Again, if I was a Tottenham fan, I might say something differently. But but as a player, Sol Campbell was great.
He was amazing. And then meanwhile, by contrast, you also have, in terms of separating the player from the from the football, you also have Joey Barton, who was a dog shit human being and a pretty okay player at best.
I think okay is being generous.
But it's... Yeah, awful fucking human being. Terrible, like, dog of a man. That dude is the ultimate example of, like, certain people will just get second chance after second chance, and cancel culture doesn't actually exist.
And you just blow them all away.
Yeah, and I literally, he's the ultimate example of, like, cancel culture doesn't actually exist, because he is just second chance after second chance, beats up your teammate to a point where you're, like, fractured their skull. It's okay. You can carry on playing. You're definitely not a menace to other players. You're not a threat to their well-being. It's cool.
He just needs to cool off a bit, and he'll be fine.
Proper. He encapsulates the whole lads mentality that we. You know what I mean? Like, hey, you can get away. Tour. Yeah, lads on tour. You can get away with whatever you want because he's just being a lad. He's just being a hot-tempered dickhead of a lad.
Joey Barton is that guy that you never really want him to come out on a night out with you because he's always that. We all have that one mate.
Yeah, just takes it too far.
He just takes it too far. He just won't shut up, and he just causes a fight with someone. We've all got that one mate, and Joey Barton is that mate.
You're just on edge the entire night because you're like, this guy might start a fight at any moment, and I'm gonna get blasted.
And you can't talk to him because he'll say something offensive. He'll say something stupid, and then it's just like. And then you turn to the other mates and go, "Why are we mates with this guy?"
Yeah.
Like, we remember we were at school with him. Like, so
just awful guy, and who he's become in social media is not surprising whatsoever. Where he's basically become a human clickmate. Where his whole MO, especially on Twitter, is just kind of having a go at pandering to that dickhead crowd. And like having a go at female footballers and just saying shit that you're like, I'm not surprised this is coming out of your mouth. Just there's always that one person that just gets you going on a rant, and
looks like it's Joey Barton this week.
Looks like it. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Joey Barton a lot of weeks.
Good old Joey Barton.
Second chance, Joey. Just constantly getting second chances.
The thing is, though, like Roy Keane was a bit of a scrappy player, but he was good.
But he was amazing.
A good player.
Yeah, he was amazing.
He was an amazing player. He used to get results, and there was a reason why he was like that. And there's a reason why, as a captain at Man United, he acted like that, and they got results, and they all respected him for it. And he was someone you didn't want to mess with. Joey Barton's just a knob. Yeah. That's the difference.
The big difference is that Roy Keane was like that on the pitch. Off the pitch, he's not a cunt. Like, Barson is like that off the pitch, which is stupid. Yeah. It doesn't make any sense. Why would you let that carry on? Like, everyone.
I mean, it is a huge disservice to compare Roy Keane with Joey Barton.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
But Roy Keane, like I said, on the pitch, he did that because he wanted to get a result.
Yeah,
and there's that story I heard about when Rio Ferdinand went to Manchester United, and Roy Keane went up to him and went, "Oh, mate, you're at Man United now. Everything you've done doesn't matter. You're at Man United. Respect the badge. You're come here to play, not to piss around." And that's what you
set the standard.
It's a bit like he set the standard, and if you watch the documentary The Last Dance, Michael Jordan with the Chicago Bulls. He was a dick, but he was a dick because he wanted to get results. And sometimes a leader has to be a bit of a dick to get results. And Roy Keane was like that. That doesn't mean he's like, I'm not calling him a dick, but he had to act a dick to try and get results. Also, and that's what it was.
Michael Jordan.
Joe Barton's just a dick.
Michael Jordan and his I Took It Personal compilation. Like, that dude took everything and anything personally. And that's what made him like him using spite to drive his success is genuinely so inspiring to me. Because people always talk about you need to let go of your troubles with people, and you should just be free loving and only work on you, man, and you're gonna inspire yourself to be as great as you can be. Ignore other people. Whereas Michael Jordan is like spits in the face of that mentality. He's like, no, take what people say, use it to fuel your anger and be and rub their faces in it. And I'm like, that's my language. I love that.
That is inspirational right there.
That is inspirational. I might get a picture of Michael Jordan with just the phrase, I took it personally, in a frame, because I love how fucking impactful that is. Took it personal. It's great.
Took it personal.
Right, was there another segment of the show, or are we good?
I think that's the whole show, isn't it?
That's probably the whole.
Mates.
Did we forgot to talk about the England game just briefly?
Oh yeah, first of all, we were going to do it last week, but I got food poisoning.
I wanted to make a reference to it because I was going to be like, Lee Carsley's rich football gave Tharun the shits. Gave him diet.
Well, the story of what happened is I had a migraine.
Okay.
So I left work early, and then I rested up. And then I thought I'd have some lunch, and I had some fish that I didn't realise had gone past its sell-by date. And then that night, I woke up and I was over the toilet all night. And then the next morning, I was over the toilet. And then Zayn messages me going, "Oh, fancy doing a podcast?" And I'm like, "No, not today." I'm literally over the toilet.
What about Lee Carsley? Can't you hold it in for 90 minutes?
But if you want to, if you really have to talk about the England game,
we don't have to talk about the England game. Let's just make a faint passing to it, because I wanted to more reference your diarrhea than I did talk about the England.
Okay.
To be honest
Well,
with
it wasn't diarrhea actually; it was coming out the front end, not the back end.
So not both at the same time.
I'm more comfortable with the back end actually. When that sounded a bit weird. trying to get on. I'm more comfortable with shits than throwing up. That's what I was trying to say. Go on. Click that one up.
That's going to be a fun clip. I'm going to share that to all.
Yeah, clip that one up, that one there. I'm more comfortable with the back end. Might get me some more followers.
Yeah, I was going to say more people might come to your comedy nights.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like, that's a pretty decent place to leave it.
We'll leave it on that.
We'll leave it on that, yeah. I was going to say, I don't think that can be topped now.
Literally. No, I don't think anything Joey Barton could do could top that.
Nope. Well, thank you to everyone who has joined in this week. That has been a fun one. I'm just trying to think. There is a game week this next weekend, right?
Well, yeah. Season's back. We're past the international break.
Yeah, but
we're playing Everton this weekend. I think you'll find.
That's it. So we're playing Everton. I'm just trying to look. And City Arsenal. So that's a pretty big game.
Big games coming up because it's obviously down the bottom end. It's obviously Leicester versus Everton. So one team might get its first win. Hopefully it's us. Hopefully it's not a draw. I hate it as a draw.
I don't know. I don't know if I will. A part of me really wants it to be Everton go 2-0 up and then we win 3-2. But at the same time, I don't think my heart can put up with any of that.
Also, I don't think we've got the depth in squad to be able to pull that one off.
No.
So I think if we went 2-0 up, I think we just stay there. And I don't want to see this dropping deep anymore. You know, we're doing it too much, and it's not worked.
Well,
so yeah, hopefully we win against Everton this weekend.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, I will be in London next week, but I'm sure we can still work out some kind of schedule, and I'll have my laptop with me.
There's a few derbies actually. Oh, yeah. West Ham versus Chelsea.
Ooh.
That should be a good one. There's a West Midlands derby, Villa versus Wolves.
Aston Villa.
Yep.
Aston Villa versus Wolves.
Aston Villa versus Wolves.
Yep.
And that's the only two derbies.
Okay, well, fair play.
Yeah. But then the big game obviously is Man City Arsenal.
Nice. Well, I guess we'll see you guys again next week. In the meantime, take care, have a great week, and we'll see you soon. And hopefully Tharun gets more food poisoning.
Oh, yeah.
See you later.